Guys, what's up? Sorry, I took myself off the screen here. Welcome to the show. So I don't normally go live on here. As you guys know, I'm usually over on F4W or on Fightful, but I do want to go live more on this channel. So I decided to hop on today to talk about the WWE NXT releases because we just saw the news. Started coming out around 1 o'clock. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select was the one who broke the news of the releases and basically the names that have been released by the company. And so, given that obviously I cover NXT on a weekly basis, I decided to go ahead and talk about some of the names of the people that are now gone from WWE, a little bit of what they were doing on the show, some names that are surprising more so than others, etc., and kind of just talk about that. And I also want to talk a little bit about the repercussions of the WWE releases in general and what this could mean for the future and all of that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that and also get your reactions in here as well. So I think there's a lot to kind of just go over here today. So first and foremost, guys, I've decided I'm going to go in order of just like the names and kind of pull these up and, talk about these people and what it was that they were doing, etc. So let's kick things off. We're going to start it off with Dakota Kai because Dakota Kai, I think, is probably the biggest name on this list of people that were released here today. And I think the last time I checked, she was her name was trending at number 4, number 5 on Twitter, higher than a lot of the other people on this list, because I think when it comes down to, there's so many times, like one of the main topics that we always get into when we talk about WWE releases and people who have gotten released in the past, whether it was in 2020 or 2021, is we always talk about people that we're like, damn, WWE dropped the ball on this person. They dropped the ball on this person. How did they not see star power in this person, right? Like that usually tends to be a huge topic. Well, Dakota Kai is legitimately the person that I feel this completely applies to, okay? She is the person that if you guys have tuned into my NXT post shows or whatever it is, or even shows where people ask me like, hey, Denise, who do you want to see go to the main roster? Hey, Denise, who do you want to go see to the main roster? The answer is usually and always Dakota Kai. So Dakota Kai has, been down in NXT. She didn't really get her opportunity to go to Raw or SmackDown or get to do any of those cool things that, a lot of people would have expected from her. And unfortunately, she was released here today. So let's kind of talk about what's been going down with Dakota Kai. So there was a period in which she was feuding with Raquel Gonzalez. And then there was this whole thing where it kind of looked for a couple of weeks there. We stopped seeing Dakota Kai and a lot of us thought, oh, maybe she's going to the main roster. She's done just about everything that she can possibly do in NXT. She's already done with her feud with Raquel Gonzalez. They pretty much tied that all up. And so she also didn't win the NXT championship from Raquel Gonzalez, which a lot of people thought she was going to win the NXT Women's Championship from Raquel at one point so that Raquel could go off to the main roster. And then when she didn't win the title, a lot of people thought, okay, maybe Dakota Kai is probably going to go to the main roster. So there was a lot of speculation that Dakota Kai would be one of those people that was called up. Now, she was one of those people that wrestled, the dark matches, etc., but it never officially happened for her. So then she comes back to NXT and she's back and, we're here with the new version of NXT, NXT 2.0, and we're seeing her out there. And then she's immediately thrown back, feuding once again with Raquel Gonzalez. And you're kind of like, all right, we kind of been there, done that already with her. Then afterwards, we end up finding out that they end up winning the tag team titles, Raquel and Dakota, which was really randomly done. It literally happened in like a span of 2 weeks where it was like they're friends again. And oh, hey, at the pay-per-view, they win the titles. And then immediately after, they lost the titles. And that was already 2 times that Dakota and Raquel had been champions and were essentially kind of screwed out of an actual reign as champions. So then people thought, again, okay, maybe they are going to the main roster. And maybe that's why they took the titles away from them. And then after that, Raquel Gonzalez was reported, she went up to SmackDown. We already seen her make her debut. And Dakota Kai was kind of just, back to what she was doing on NXT. For the most part, she's been sort of floundering on the roster. She was teaming with Wendy Chu for a while before winning the tag team titles with Raquel. She was obviously part of the tag team tournament and all of that. She recently had a match against Mandy Rose where she went up for the NXT Women's Championship. And again, it did not happen. So it's been a lot of, okay, we're going this direction, and then it didn't happen. Okay, we're going this direction, and it didn't happen. So then, out of nowhere, today we find out that she's been released. And so this is the one where I think that WWE, had they at any point during this time called up Dakota Kai, put her on Raw, put her on SmackDown. We've had such a huge criticism of the slim roster that we've been having on Raw and SmackDown for the women, especially. We've been talking a lot about there not being enough challengers for the champions, etc. There's still a lot of girls that are on the main roster that we haven't even seen. I mean, mention names that you can mention, such as Shotzi Blackheart, etc., right? And so Dakota Kai could have easily been somebody that I think, had she been on part of Raw or SmackDown, she would have definitely added a whole lot to either one of those rosters, because she was really good in terms of like her character and her persona. Again, if you'd been watching NXT 3.0 or just NXT in general, you would see the different types of personality that she was showing. A lot of range is what I'm trying to get at. She was showing a lot of range on there. And so you knew that she had potential. We saw Psycho Dakota Kai. We saw all these different versions of Dakota Kai. Her in-ring work had definitely been improving for a long time already. And she would go in there, be very fiery, add a lot of life to her matches. And so I just don't understand why the trigger was essentially never pulled with Dakota Kai. So that's definitely somebody where I'm like, where are we going? Like, it's been questionable, but let's go ahead and see what people are saying here, guys. We're getting a lot of comments, but we got a super chat here from Nick Grasso who says, WWE at it again with the so-called budget cuts. Dakota Kai bothers me the most. She'll be just fine wherever she goes. Cough, cough, AEW. This is like another topic for another show, but given the fact that AEW is constantly, being criticized for their women's division and things that they could be doing with their women's division, having somebody like a Dakota Kai would definitely add a lot to the already talented division that they have. Could add more names, but then at the same time, it's like, damn, AEW is so already like jam-packed that I hate to say that every time somebody gets released, we're like, oh, we want to see them in AEW. Oh, we want to see them in AEW. Obviously, she is somebody that would be really cool to see in AEW, but it's not like they're lacking names right now, but she would be a huge addition. And she's one of those people that, because she never got this like real opportunity to, go out there and really show what she can do. I think that's, especially on such a big stage, I think that's what's a little bit like of a, it bums you out, right? It really bums you out there. But thank you so much to Nick Grasso for sending in that super chat here. But let's go ahead and see what else people are saying in regards to Dakota. We got a comment here from Roberta who says Dakota is Impact or AEW bound. She's too good not to get signed up ASAP. Exactly. She's definitely somebody there. Bobby C says something that I kind of feel the same way about. Bobby C says Dakota always felt like the bridesmaid in every storyline she was featured on. And for those of you guys, obviously, you know the saying, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. That's exactly how the situation felt for Dakota Kai. But I think you can definitely argue that, especially like with her BFF Raquel, who's like now going on and she's doing her thing on SmackDown. And it's kind of like, damn, they could have easily, two different competitors, but you could have easily done something with both of them there. And so let's go ahead and see what else we got here in regards to Dakota Kai. This is from J-Rock Dog, who says, Ever since I seen Dakota in the Mae Young Classic, I thought she would be on the main roster within 2 years. Never understood how she was never called up. Exactly. She's definitely the person that a lot of us are wondering why. Dolly Lomo says, I don't understand the logic of releasing Dakota Kai. I imagine her ending up in Impact Wrestling. She would be used there, I think, to her max potential at Impact Wrestling. I do think that if she were to go to Impact Wrestling, it would be a it would be the place where we would finally be able to see her in a different light, or at least in the light that a lot of us, assume that she could be in. So I do think that impact would be great for Dakota Kai. I completely agree with you guys there. Alrighty, so there you go. That's one of the first names, Dakota Kai, and definitely one of the most shocking names in Dakota Kai. Let's go ahead and move on because we still got more names to discuss here. Next up, we got Malcom Bivens, and here's another name where. So Malcom Bivens, his situation's obviously, a little bit different. So after it was revealed that Malcom Bivens had been released, Fightful Select also, or Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp also reported that WWE had asked Bivens to re-sign with the company this February, but Bivens essentially made it clear that he did not want to do so. And as you guys all know, he was the manager for the Diamond Mine. And if you've been watching NXT 2.0, especially like the last 2 weeks, you would notice that they were teasing a sort of a dissension there with the Diamond Mine, where Roderick Strong was starting to take on more of this leadership role, kind of stepping over Malcom Bivens. But it kind of seemed like it was part of the story and the storyline that they were going with. I wasn't expecting it to mean that we were going to be saying goodbye to Malcom Bivens. So now I'm like his situation, and given the way that the storyline was going, I almost wonder I don't know. I wonder if there's more in terms of when it was actually known for Malcom Bivens that he would be released, just because of the way that the storyline was going. I don't know if it was supposed to be a signal that, hey, we're not going to be seeing Malcom Bivens anymore. So Diamond Mine, guys, from the very beginning of their launch on NXT 2.0 has kind of been, I don't want to say cursed, because that's a little too dramatic, but they haven't necessarily had the greatest luck when it comes to keeping their team members in place and all of that. Because if you guys recall, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this up really quickly before I forget what it is that I wanted to say. Let me pull up my tweet in here somewhere. All right, here it is. So if you guys recall, we had in our prior releases also lost members of Diamond Mine. Tyler Rust, he wasn't part of Diamond Mine, and then he was released. He was gone. Hachiman, same thing. Gone. And so all you had left of the original members was Roderick Strong and Malcom Bivens. And then they added the Creed brothers, and the Creed brothers have been a tremendous addition. They added Ivy Nile, great addition too. She fits in well with Diamond Mine. But now it's Malcom Bivens is gone. Roderick Strong is most likely going to be taking on the leadership role unless they completely disband the Diamond Mine. I don't know. Or they just completely rebrand it. I don't know. But it's not. They've sort of been, I'm just going to go with lightly cursed on the NXT roster, where it kind of feels like none of the members are sticking. Whatever it is that they've decided with Diamond Mine keeps to be constantly changing there. Malcom Bivens is a huge part of Diamond Mine as well, because he was really the one that brought the personality. Roderick Strong brought the in-ring skill. The Creed brothers brought, they're the young, hot, up-and-coming rising team. Ivy Nile, unique looking talent, etc. Malcom Bivens was the mouthpiece. He was the comedy factor. He was the personality. He was the personality of Diamond Mine. So not having Malcom Bivens as part of Diamond Mine is definitely going to change the trajectory there of what we were seeing with that stable all in all. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to add about this. My other thing was, given that Fightful reported that he didn't want to re-sign a contract with WWE and that sort of thing, it makes me wonder, what was it exactly that essentially made Malcom Bivens not want to be part of this anymore? And I think a lot of us can put two and two together. The big change from NXT to NXT 2.0 is a huge one. Triple H not having the exact same role, and just everything that impacted there with, the talent that was let go, people that were, considered Triple H people, removed from the other NXT roles as well in earlier releases. So it's like, I think a lot, definitely. William Regal, another person being gone from NXT, that was pivotal. It's just, I think all of those changes is probably what's led to a lot of people not necessarily wanting to continue to be part of the NXT brand. So there you go. That was Malcom Bivens, who was another person here. And let's go ahead and get some comments here and see what people thought about the release of Malcom Bivens here. And let's go ahead and get some comments. I'm trying to pull up some good ones here. This one is from Bobby, who says, Bivens is great at what he does, but they don't use managers on the main roster. LA Knight is a manager, but I'll believe him as a manager once he's actually on TV. Heel Heat says AEW has a ton of guys that Malcom Bivens would absolutely elevate to main event status as their mouthpiece. He could definitely elevate just about anybody that, isn't there yet. And even on like Raw or SmackDown, like I could think of so many people that Malcom Bivens could have been placed with where he could have been, their mouthpiece. A lot of people that, don't necessarily have those like mic skills just yet. So anyways, let's get some more comments. This one's from James Wheeler, who says, I thought that there would be an angle where Roderick Strong got so fed up with Malcom that he kicks him out of Diamond Mine. Later on, Malcom Bivens would head to SmackDown to manage Ronda Rousey. Sorry, that one kind of caught me off guard. We were mentioning like names of people that could be used some help to get like, a mouthpiece with them, and then you throw me Ronda Rousey. Oh man. All right, that one. Okay, thank you for making me laugh at least. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some more thoughts in here and see what people are saying. Let's see. This is from Dolly, who says, Dooley, excuse me, WWE never a good place for managers, which is the same shame because most talents have poor promo skills that are heavily scripted. A couple of them, obviously not everybody, but there you go. Redmond Survivor sends in a comment here, says SRS on Fightful Select said that Dakota told WWE she was unlikely to resign. I would not be surprised. I mean, if I were her, I would probably at this point, she's always had the rug pulled from underneath her, guys. We just said it. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And so if I were in her situation, I think there's a certain point where where your hope begins to kind of run out. When you keep seeing people, think about this, you're working, you're doing everything you possibly can. You're changing your appearance. You're working on your persona. You're working on your in-ring character. You're doing all the things you need to do, right? You're checking all the boxes, and people just other people keep getting opportunities, and you're just there and you're waiting for your opportunity and you're hoping that it finally happens. I could only imagine that kind of frustration. At some point, I would be like, you know what? Peace. This isn't working. But you obviously want that to be more on your terms, or at least, with contract stuff and all of that. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and continue on. And somebody also points out that Dakota's birthday is next Friday. That sucks. All right, guys. So there you go. We've so far covered Dakota Kai, Malcom Bivens. Let's go ahead and move on from this. Also, for those of you who are here on the channel, if you are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe, guys. We are on our way to 60K. But let's go ahead and talk about Harland. So Harland is, this one's another interesting situation because literally just this Tuesday, I put out a tweet and I put where's Harland? And I knew that he had gotten married, and a bunch of people were like, oh, he got married. And I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, I know he got married, but that was a month ago. And he was on the show 2 weeks ago. And then people were like, oh, well, maybe he went on a honeymoon. And I'm like, all right, fine. And we kind of made a light joke of it, of let him enjoy his time off, let him enjoy his honeymoon, right? Just made a joke of that, not really taking anything too seriously. And then lo and behold, I see his name on this releases list, and I'm thinking, you know what? We should have seen it coming. These last 2 weeks, he wasn't on NXT. And given that the last time we saw him was when they were doing the whole thing where him and Joe Gacy essentially had Rick Steiner locked up in this cage. And this was essentially to do, Gacy and Braun Breaker and all of that. You would have thought that Harland was going to be a big portion of this because he was there. He was part of the whole thing. And then the next two weeks, it's been all about Gacy. They've been doing a lot more of these smoke and mirror stuff on NXT. It's been probably the worst storyline for Braun Breaker, but regardless, they've been doing it. And so I'm thinking this whole time, my assumption was they're putting him with Gacy so that when it's finally time to pull the plug on Harland as a solo act, like this whole time I thought it was leading to a point where they would pull the plug on Harland as a separate act, separate from Joe Gacy. And, they brought him in and they kind of did, they shaved his head. They made him look all creepy. They gave him a very, very, I don't know how to describe it. They give him an odd character. Maybe not the best for, who Parker is. But so they kind of killed a little bit there. They kind of made him a little bit cartoonish, rather. But still, regardless, they could have easily shaken that off down the line. I think a lot of people probably still expected like there to be some possibility for Harland on, whether it be on NXT 2.0 or the main roster. So I kind of feel like he didn't really get a real opportunity like to actually grow and maybe become the performer that he could become. Like, I don't think he really got a legitimately solid opportunity to do that. So there you go. That was Harland, who is also released as well. And let's see if we got any more comments here in regards to Harland. Once again, guys, Nick Rosso says they basically turned him into Frankenstein. Damn. Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks for Harland, but it sucks for everybody. All right, and let's go ahead and move on. Actually, before we do, we got a comment from Joseph that I want to see here. And Joseph Boza says, there's no room now for error. You either have it or you don't. With Triple H's NXT, you had time to grow. Now you don't. See, this is, okay, I get what you're saying because that's what they're basically telling us with these releases. However, that's not the intention of the new NXT 2.0. The new NXT 2.0 is we're meant to be seeing, these athletes go from, point A to point B. We're supposed to be seeing them get better and better each and every single week. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, we're supposed to be seeing them progress. We're supposed to see the development of them becoming stars versus like Triple H's NXT. You saw that too, but they were like, I guess you can say the bar was higher. The match quality was obviously different. They were at different levels. We know that, right? But with NXT 2.0, it was still something similar to that, just not to we just don't have the same work rate anymore, right? But we're still, the concept is we're still supposed to be seeing these talents go from beginners to like intermediate to, full-fledged WWE superstars, right? Like, we're supposed to be seeing that. There's a lot of people on NXT that are not good. There's a lot of people that are developing. There's a lot of people that were not good in the beginning that, hey, maybe, now they're a little bit better. So we are seeing that there's all types of levels of talent right now on NXT 2.0. And then, so we're supposed to be seeing them like become something. So I don't think Harland really got an opportunity to actually, get his wings and develop properly, right? All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got here. We got a lot of comments coming in, guys. This is from the Kipped Out, who says it does suck for everyone to lose that security that comes with a WWE paycheck, but lots of these folks have real talent. They are going to go somewhere, become stars. I bet WWE comes calling again. Who knows, guys? Who knows? Alrighty, and let's go ahead and jump into our next person here. Jesus. This next person is Dexter Lumis, and I feel bad, but I was surprised when I saw Dakota Kai's name up there. I was surprised when I saw Malcom Bivens. I was surprised when I saw Harland. I was not completely surprised when I saw Dexter Lumis, and the reason for that is, again, if you're watching the NXT 2.0 content on a regular basis, you know that Dexter Lumis was after the when we got the shift from NXT to NXT 2.0, and after they did, the wedding and everything with Indy and Dexter, and they got married and they went on their honeymoon, and then we saw Johnny Gargano leave, and, the Way broke up, and, Johnny Gargano's gone, Candice is gone, Austin Theory's moved on, he's, on the main roster now doing things with Vince and all of that. Everybody went a separate direction. It was very, very clear that Dexter Lumis no longer fit in anywhere in what they were doing. It was very, very obvious. And so then finally they brought him back because at the end of the day, he's still the on-screen character, the on-screen husband of Indy Hartwell. And so then they got into this whole thing where first, he thought that Indy Hartwell was having an affair with Duke Hudson. And so that was the story for a bit. And then it turned into a competition where you had Duke Hudson and his on-screen girlfriend, Persia Pirotta, who was also released. So let's kind of talk about both Persia and Dexter in this one, because Persia Pirotta is also gone. Okay, so then they moved on to Dexter and Indy having this competition with Persia and Duke Hudson. They were having this couple's competition of, whose husband's hot, like whose guy is hotter and this and that, and they were doing a bunch of silly stuff on there, right? And there was even this one night on NXT where they ended up getting all counted out. Somehow they all ended up on the outside, and there was a bunch of drama, and nobody could get back into the ring. It ended up being a count out, and it was such a bad. It did not go over well with the crowd. In fact, the entire NXT 2.0 CWC audience was chanting, "This is stupid." They were legitimately chanting, "This is stupid," because that's how bad the count out and what they were doing with these four talents was. They really made it into this goofy thing. So then the following week, all of a sudden, the story is that Indy and Persia are essentially, they came up with an idea to have Duke Hudson and Dexter Lumis become a tag team. And last week, they had a tag team match for the titles. And so basically, we were now starting to see the formation of Duke Hudson and Dexter Lumis as an actual tag team. So that was supposed to be a thing, and we were about to start seeing that. And I thought, okay, you know what? This is going to be a better direction for them. It's going to be a little less goofy, etc. Maybe they can, make it work. But now with Dexter Lumis and Persia Pirotta released from WWE, I'm like wondering what is going to happen. So either I see these as two options. Either they're going to make it like Persia Pirotta and Duke Hudson continue this thing, and I don't know how they're going to explain it, but let's say they can continue this thing and end up being an on-screen couple. I don't know. It just falls in line with their storyline, right? I don't know how they would skip a lot to get to that, but that could be an option, I guess. And then the other option is just to completely pivot the entire storyline, have Duke Hudson go off and do something else, and Indy Hartwell, she lost her on-screen husband, and she lost her BFF and on and off tag team partner, Persia Pirotta. So they're going to have to, really rewire things with Indy Hartwell there, because that was a huge portion of like the last year of what Indy Hartwell has been doing and who she's been associated with on the show. On top of that, Persia Pirotta, she was, really good luck. I kind of feel like she's somebody that was like low-key improving as well. It may not have been like super noticeable, but I did think that she was low-key improving because we would watch her on these shows. And I remember when she was having like tag team matches with Indy Hartwell and some of the other girls on the roster, where they were just doing, they were having their tag team matches. Persia Pirotta, she would have a lot of real like standout moments, but we never really got to see much of that. Like, we never got to see anything really come off that, because immediately they went into these goofy, segments where they're competing and this and that, right? They went into the love stuff. They focused so much in on the drama that we stopped seeing Persia in the ring. But when she was in the ring, she was improving, is what I'm saying. She was improving. And again, I think that's the goal, right? The goal is for them to improve. So I do think that there was an opportunity there with Persia that was not necessarily executed there as well. And let's go ahead and get some comments here and see what people are saying. And this is from Bobby, who says, the Index story was the best wrestling as entertainment. I really did not like that at all, like in terms of what they were doing with them. Dooley says, I thought Persia's in-ring skills better than Indy. Actually, I actually thought the same thing. I legitimately did. But, Indy Hartwell, she's gotten over for different reasons, mainly her character. She has a good personality, really good personality. But Persia Pirotta, I did think was a little bit more impressive in the ring than Indy Hartwell. So yeah, I actually do agree with that as well. And this is from Ace Shock, who says, Indy Hartwell in character is alone, her tag partner and her husband all in kayfabe. Also, Persia is a 2.0 star released under the rebrand. Is the first 2.0 release star under the rebrand, says Ace Shock. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here, guys. And so after this, let's jump into Draco Anthony. So Draco Anthony is also another name that I legitimately, all these other names now, guys, that we're going to be talking about, there are more people that we didn't really get to see, or people that, we're not really too surprised, right? Because we didn't get to see much of them. So Draco Anthony, he had a couple of matches on NXT. He was basically losing all of these matches. Like, he didn't have like a real character. He didn't really have like any real like depth on the show or anything. He was just a guy that you would see in these like random matches, right? And he was pretty much on a losing streak. I think he had like one win, and it was I think it might have been like on 205 Live or Level Up or one of those shows, right? But so when I saw Draco Anthony's name, I really wasn't too surprised. He really wasn't anybody that they seemed to have any sort of plans for, especially considering that he was just going out there and just losing to everybody. He was just that guy that went out there and had matches with somebody who needed a win and gave that random guy a win. And that was pretty much it. So that's, so he's out. Referee Blair Baldwin, gone too. Vish Kanya, again, we did not get to see her on NXT, gone. Mila Milani and Raelyn Divine, gone. People that we never got to see on NXT 2.0. So I can't even tell you anything about them because we did not even see them. So I feel bad. And if there was somebody that, let me double check, guys, if it was, Mila or if it was Raelyn, one of those two girls. Hold on a second. It might have been, hold on, who was it? Was it Mila? Hold on, guys. There was somebody that I wanted to talk about really quickly. No, I think it might have been Raelyn. Hold on. Let me pull this up. All right. So, no, it wasn't Raelyn. It might have been Vish. Hold on. There's somebody that I wanted to talk about really quickly, but I'm trying to remember who it was. All right. We'll just have to skip that. Forget that. All right. But there was one of them. I forgot which one, and maybe the chat can help me out here. One of them literally had just signed, I think it was December, and like posted like this really like cute like selfie and everything on Twitter and was like celebrating this like new start to their life. And I'm just like, damn. So anyways, obviously a lot of these people had, similar situations. We've seen this already with the releases, people that, uprooted their lives. They go to Orlando, they think this is it, and then they end up getting released without getting a real opportunity. So with that being said, one of the things that I feel we need to talk about, and I don't know how many people here are, the one thing that I do want to talk about that I think is important is the fact that, everybody here, guys, no matter what sort of profession you're in, everybody here knows the importance of job security. Job security is so ridiculously important. Doesn't matter where the hell you work. Doesn't matter what you do. Job security is beyond important. And when you're seeing all of these releases and when you're seeing all of these people who have been released by WWE, all these different stories, when you're seeing people that have been there for only a couple of months and never got an opportunity, uprooted their lives, moved away from their families or moved their entire family, quit this, quit that, made all these changes, took a visa to get here. I don't know, all of these different stories. When you see all of that, and you see people essentially get released in this manner, it really, really kind of sours things for future talent that may want to go to WWE. Because if you're seeing like, if let's say I'm some like hot shit talent that's about to go to WWE and WWE wants me and they're like, hey, we want you to come wrestle for us and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking like, you know what, that could be a really great opportunity. But then I see how all these other people have been released and their, contracts weren't honored and nobody cared that they uprooted their entire lives. I'm going to start thinking, you know what? What if they do the exact same thing to me? What if I go and uproot my life, go to Orlando, and that's it? So you got to start like, it looks bad because when you're trying to get people to come to your company and you're seeing the track record that you have, it does not look good. It does not look good. You want people to go to WWE and feel like at least there's some sort of job security where, you know what? Hey, I may sign like a 1-year contract, but hopefully that, that whole 1 year I'm there. You know what? Let me complete that 1 year. Let me, do it. And you know what? When that 1 year's up, if it didn't work out for you and it didn't work out for me, then hey, peace, we're out, etc. So for me, it's like just that one thing where I'm thinking like, it's just, it's not a good look, guys. It's not a good look at all, guys. It's not a good look. You want people to at least feel like there's a real possibility for them to at least do something and not necessarily be booted out within just like a couple months of being there. So there you go, guys. And then on top of that, there's so many different conversations that you can have. You can start having conversations about, independent contractors and all of that. That's a whole other conversation on top of that because a real independent contractor not only gets to, work with third parties and all of that, but they also, for example, like I had an independent contract with another company and basically, I worked with that company for about a year and my thing, at that point, like they had this thing that, they could release me if they wanted, but so could I. Like my option was there to be like, hey, I don't want to work here anymore. And that's how I was essentially able to get out of, one of my last contracts for a job that I worked was, okay, I found another opportunity. It's a better opportunity. I'm an independent contractor. So, I'm going to give you your 2 weeks notice and hey, I'm gone from the company. Great. Shake hands, thumbs up, go move on to something else. That is, a real independent contractor contract. Independent contractor contract. It goes both ways, guys. Like a real independent contractor not only gets to work in multiple places, but you also get to make money in different ways. And if you want to leave said contract, there is the option to do that. And some things may be tweaked here and there, but at least for like, I have signed multiple independent contractors, contracts, multiple. I can't even tell you how many. And never been in a situation where, I couldn't get out of it, right? Like I couldn't get out of it. No. So it is one of those things where it's like there needs to be some sort of security there for the talent. Alrighty, guys. So there you go. That's pretty much today. Raphael, that's not good for business. It's not good for business. All right, let's see what we got here. I think for the most part, we got everybody's thoughts in here, but I hope you guys appreciated this quick show talking about the NXT releases. And that's it, guys. I don't know if there's going to be any more as of right now. I know Sean posted that there was nothing else left, at least not right now, but you just never know. But there you go. Those are the names. Once again, Dakota Kai, Malcom Bivens, Harland, Dexter Lumis, Persia, Pirotta, Draco Anthony, referee Blair, Baldwin, Vish, Kanya, Mila, Milani, and Raelyn Divine, all gone. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you are new here, let us know what you thought about the releases in the comment section and make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Also, in a couple of hours, I will be live over on F4W Online to discuss both SmackDown and AEW Rampage. So I'll be live in a couple of hours. I'll see you guys later.